must be enhanced by handsomely paying them for the material they will author. Let the process be transparent and the best be picked. Teachers can also be allowed to author books jointly. With these few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to second.
Any further debate? The Honourable Member for Chiengi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a very important report, and I would like to support it on behalf of the good people of Chiengi. Mr. Speaker, when we talk about the education in our country, it's nothing much to talk about in terms of the curriculum. We are still having a curriculum where our children are still being taught the parts of a grasshopper, where our children are being taught things that are irrelevant to secure their futures. We are not developing the future or the future generation which can be self-reliant. Mr. Speaker, our curriculum teaches us to look for jobs. And it's the reason you see each child who finishes or graduates from a university, they start looking for a job because of our curriculum. From the creche, a child is being taught things that are totally irrelevant of what they want to become in our country. Mr. Speaker, in other countries, children starting from the creche are being taught even how to assemble an engine using tools. In other ways, the children will be able to relate with what they want to become. In our country, we do not even have the kind of curriculum that is supporting arts. When we say arts and culture, where we have children who say, I want just to be an actress, I just want to be a musician, I want to be a dancer, or I just want to be a sports person. We don't have that because those are the kind of careers where our children can make money from. And looking for jobs. Truth be told, looking for a job is just, looking for a job and getting paid is total slavery. Somebody has to work for 30 days and get paid. And when they get paid, it all goes towards all the expenses that you can think of. Especially for the civil servants, they're heavily indebted, so their salaries don't even make a meaning after toiling for months and months with all the degrees that they have. Mr. Speaker, I think we should look into changing our curriculum seriously. I'm well informed that there's a change of grades now to forms and what, but that is not helping our children. We need to see the curriculum which is speaking to what the children will become in the future. If you go to China, you'll find that the type of education they have, a child knows I'll become an engineer, the child knows I'll become a doctor. Even just it's not really our neighbors, South Africa, the kind of curriculum they have is totally different from ours. I think as the government has changed its not curriculum, the grading to forms and what, I was expecting to see a total change of a curriculum. How do you get somebody to do your curriculum who does not understand our culture, who does not really understand our mindset? We have a lot that our children can learn from. You'll find a child doing what they call woodwork. They have to do that in the secondary school. Why not doing it starting from the primary? So that if they drop out in grade 7, they can be self-reliant. But they have to do that in the secondary school. And it's not helping at all. Mr. Speaker, we have special needs for this, special children with special needs. We have autistic children who are told once they reach grade 7 they cannot further their education. There's one case that I've been following with keen interest. This child is so intelligent. The children with autism, most of them are so intelligent. But our education does not give them that chance to further their education. We've looked down on the people with special needs, Mr. Speaker. I think it's very important that as the country we look at our curriculum critically so that we can give the best education equally to everyone. Those who have special needs, especially the children with autism, they should be seen to be supported. I'll still give an example of South Africa. They've got schools only for autistic children. And we have one of the famous actor in the USA, Will Smith. Look, that is the kind of education which was provided for him. So our children with such a special need, they need also special curriculum that the government should look into. And when we talk of the other children who are so-called slow learners, they should have their own kind of education. But when we say their own kind of education, we are not saying when a child reaches grade 7 and a child with autism, you tell them they can only go this far because we don't have materials for you in the secondary or in the universities. I think we are not doing justice to our nation, Mr. Speaker. Every child deserves to be given the best education, which will lead them to be self-reliant and to stop depending on the government to employ them. We are having this burden of children, all of them going to want to be in the defense force or to be in the police or what. It's because there are no jobs. But had our curriculum been a type of curriculum that will empower our children, say, I'll be an electrician, not when they go and ask for CDF. No, let it be the kind of education that will support our children from primary school, secondary school, and then tertiary. Then we'll see less dependence on the government to employ our children. We've looked down on agri in our produce in Mbala growing coffee, and that would make a child to take keen interest. I want to be, I want to become a farmer. But now we look at agriculture or to become a farmer or what, like it's a job for uneducated people. I think our curriculum, as they've changed the grades to forms, should also change in that direction. I support the report, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Kafula-Futa.
Mr. Speaker, I sincerely thank you for giving me this opportunity to submit my humble opinion on the motion on the floor. Kindly allow me to state that I feel, first of all, I support the motion or the report. I strongly support the report that has been ably presented by the mover and the seconder. During my comments, Mr. Speaker, I must say I'm very, very concerned with our educational standards these days. I look back to the days when I went to school, and obviously with others, the odd-timers that we have here, if you may allow me to use that term, Mr. Speaker, those that went to the old schools know exactly what I'm talking about. When we were taught to understand. But when we look at the schools these days, our learners are drilled to pass an exam. So you find a situation where someone had 6 points in their grade 12 exam, but who cannot put 2 sentences together. And when they write their English is text-based. And our teachers don't seem to have problems with that. And in fact, in my interactions with some of the teachers these days, you'll find a teacher who is teaching in secondary school, writing broken English, which is very, very worrying. And you wonder the kind of pupils they produce when you have a secondary school teacher writing broken English. So I could say a number of things in agreement with the report, Mr. Speaker, but maybe just to say a few more words that we need to go back to days when our educational standards were equal to the international standards, where a Zambian pupil or student was respected worldwide. As we are talking right now, Mr. Speaker, in Great Britain, there are some universities that are not recognized. When someone goes with a degree from Zambia, they say we don't recognize this university, or degree is equal to a diploma here. One goes with a master's, they say, no, this is equal to a degree. So all I'm trying to say is we cannot deny the fact that our educational standards have gone down. So there is need for us to up our game. And I remember in the old school days, in the old days rather, when teachers sometimes would go for refresher courses. And I think that there is no better time to start that, because I've interacted with Minister of Education, which I think, in my opinion, has done extremely, extremely well. And those refresher courses where teachers can go and, be refreshed, to maybe up their game so that their products, the pupils or learners that they teach can be of international standards. In the old days, Mr. Speaker, it was not easy to pass an exam. I remember those of us that went to rural schools. In grade 7, Mr. Speaker, it was not easy, as these days, as they put it these days, at Ukumech Koti, meaning that, they give a first attempt at grade 7 and they pass. In my days, if someone passed first attempt, then they were probably a son or daughter of a witch, which is not the case these days. So we were taught to know what was presented to us in a situation where even when you go in an exam, all the examiner would say, for example, discuss the Mfekane. You see, Mr. Speaker, I still remember my history. Discuss the effects of Mfekane War. I still remember that, because when I learned that, I was taught to understand and so on. So without saying much, I would sit down and write what caused the Mfekane War, what happened, and the effects of the Mfekane War, which is not the case today, because our educational standard is busy drilling our pupils to pass. And as a result, our educational standards have gone down, and because our educational standards have gone down, we are not recognized internationally. And I'm saying this from a very well-informed angle. So by this few words, Mr. Speaker, I wish to strongly support this report and end by saying there is need for us to go back to the drawing board to ensure that we have the material that our pupils need. I agree with the point that was raised that we need more of the Zambian history. If we did more of the Zambian history, I'm sure this will lead us to help these tribal issues we are battling with today. There is no way I can battle with anybody today because I understand the Zambia, the African history. I know where the Bembas came from. I know so we have all this information that equipped us as we were growing up. We knew exactly what was what. So we need to back such and not just end up debating this matter in Parliament, but see to it that this is taught in our schools. Whatever we've talked about here is implemented so that we can be a proud nation, a nation that has the grey matter that we were known of the past few years. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, I wish to support the report. I thank you.
The Honourable Member from Mbabala.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honourable Mr. Speaker, for giving the good people of Mbabala an opportunity to add a few points to this very important report, as ably moved by Honourable Kamboni and supported by Honourable Merciana of Milanzi. Mr. Speaker, education plays a very important role in our lives and is indeed the best equalizer for all of us. I think all of us here are here in the House because of the education we received at one stage. And for example, the grade 12 requirement is something that has immediately eliminated a lot of people from coming to this House. And those of us who are here because we could qualify with that grade 12 certificate. But there is a number of issues in this report, and quickly because of time, I'd like to deal with some of those issues so that we can be attended to. I think the report has talked a lot around locally contextualized curriculum, in that we have a number of subjects that are given to our learners that may not be very relevant to the current dispensation. And indeed, Mr. Speaker, I want to totally agree with that process. I'm aware that the ministry is doing an excellent job in reviving and reviewing the curriculum. I think last year we had 10 days of sitting at Government Complex, to review the curriculum. And we participated and put some of the things. One of the things which I have, as people of Mbabala have complained, for example, is that you find that in our rural schools where it matters most to be, we are agriculturists, doing crops as well as the livestock, you find that the curriculum has sometimes no subjects of that nature in the rural schools. Children who are in Mbabala at St. Mark's, for example, as a very important secondary school that produced me and many others, including the former Honorable Beremo and others, you find that the school has no agricultural science to the learners at the current environment. And yet, all those pupils come from the villages where they are growing crops and where they are looking after livestock. And when the so-called failing, when these pupils do not make it to grade 10 or do not make it to university, they return to their villages to become farmers. Yet the curriculum missed an opportunity to ensure that they are equipped to use local resources in terms of what is available in terms of materials as well as equipment. I would like to encourage the ministry to ensure that we ensure that curriculum is contextualized to the environment. Just this last weekend, I was a guest of honor in my constituency launching a project called the Tombe Project, Tombe Ndivi Project, by an innovation from one of our great men, Michero Karambo, one of the sons of the constituency, who is based in the U.S., supporting a program in the constituency where they use household waste, shima, grass, and vegetables, all the waste, to make organic manure and grow crops and vegetables. That is the kind of locally contextualized curriculum which we would like to see. That helps our villagers to understand the science and be able to produce crops, for example, without you relying on synthetic fertilizers. That way they will be able to do things that help them. We should not be having measures that do not develop and help our economy. We need to ensure that the curriculum is linked to our economy. My other point is on life skills and health education, ensuring that our children are equipped with knowledge so that they make informed decisions in life. Because we have seen an increase in HIV/AIDS amongst the young people. We have seen teenage pregnancy standing at 29% for the last 5 years or more, not going down. And we have seen the reentry policy not doing very well at primary level. These girls are getting pregnant and the like, because again the curriculum doesn't include very good life skills and health education, which is an important aspect of the learner to be able to be aware about their body, sexuality, and be able to make informed decisions that will delay their sexual debut so that they can know that if they engage early, they are in danger. And it can help us to reduce HIV and teenage pregnancy. So life skills and health education is very important and needs to be part of our curriculum taught at all levels as appropriate. My last contribution is on children with disabilities, where we need to ensure that we practice inclusive education in full. I would like to slightly differ here with the recommendation from Honorable Merciana about special education having special classes. Instead, what we need is inclusive education where children with disabilities are learning together with those without disabilities in line with our Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities as outlined and the ZAPID Act of 2012, where we need to improve access for children with disabilities to school, increase their participation, ensure that they have individual learning plan, they are supported in the classroom, where materials are available, equipment is available, e.g. Equipment such as JAWS and the other ICT. So ICT becomes very important for these children, for them to be able to work at the same rate with the rest of the children. If we provide the rightful materials, we have done pilots. There was INSPRO in Zambia many years ago, and later on other pilot programs were done. Even when I was the country director at Site Savers International, we did a lot of these programs with the Honorable Kambita and others, which we implemented in Copperbelt, Southern, and many other provinces, where we demonstrated that children with disabilities can learn effectively with the other children as long as all the materials are there. What we needed was to buy all the materials, all the equipment, and train the teachers and put support teachers in the classrooms, and these children excelled. You can go to Mufrira, Mano School. We demonstrated there at Mano. I'm sure the Mufrira MP is here. He can confess to that. We did this in many other schools. So we need to ensure that we practice inclusive education fully. Finally, Mr. Speaker, let our curriculum speak to the arts. We have the Ministry of Youth and Sport and Arts, which has the youth policy. These children are moving on to be youths. Let us link it to the arts in that ministry so that we can have performing arts, drama, and the like, like people like Plato, who are performing arts. Let us link it to sport, which is in that ministry, so that we can have sportsmen excelling and making money for our economy. Let us link it to the academics. In academics, let us look at research and innovation, so that we can be able to bring out innovators that can make new things, like my boy, Markford, who is able to make electricity, and yet not supported by our government systems for us to be able to bring these innovations out and have these children, Markford from Muyanda, be able to commercialize his produce. That is what we are calling for. I submit, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Education to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to express my sincere gratitude for the time given to me to make a submission to support the adoption of the report of the Committee on Education, Science and Technology regarding the review of the implementation of the 2013 curriculum, opportunities and challenges laid on the table of the House for the third session of the 13th National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, allow me to thank the committee and the mover and the seconder for every move to the motion and for the work they have done. I also extend my appreciation to those who have debated this motion. Mr. Speaker, we do acknowledge as government the observations and recommendations set out in the committee's report on the findings from the interactions which they had with the stakeholders, both written and oral submissions, and from the local tools the committee undertook. Indeed, the government is putting in place a comprehensive policy and legal framework to guide the implementation of the curriculum, particularly in the implementation of the 2023 education curriculum. Let me hasten to mention that the processes to update the appropriate policies and legislation governing the implementation of the education curriculum in Zambia have already started. For instance, the Zambia National Education Policy, the principal policy, is under review, which will guide the amendment of the Education Act of 2011 and the Primary Act and many other legislation. Mr. Speaker, I wish to assure the August House that the ministry will take seriously the observations and recommendations of the committee and ensure that the implementation of the new curriculum is done in the systematic and coordinated way as we implement the 2023 National Education Curriculum. And the needs assessment in schools will be conducted, primarily looking at teachers' adequacy, skills and qualifications, teaching and learning materials, infrastructure, and their facilities. Mr. Speaker, I would like to say that I wish to emphasize that it is evident that as a country, we have adequate and effective policies and local frameworks governing curriculum implementation. Opportunities for a two-tier system of education are many and available. However, it is inadequate funding sometimes, which affects the implementation of the curriculum, resulting in weak implementation of the curriculum, particularly in the vocational subjects, which were among the challenges faced, and consequently, we do not attain the desirable two-tier policy goals. Therefore, reviewing and developing a curriculum is crucial for ensuring that education remains relevant, engaging, and of high quality. By continuously improving the curriculum, educators can better prepare students for the challenges and opportunities of their future. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
The Honourable Member for Kalomo Central to wind up debate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. May I take this opportunity to thank the first speaker, Member of Parliament for Chiengi. Thank you very much for your contributions. Honorable Mlewa Kaflafuta, thank you very much, excellent contribution. Honorable Msanje, thank you very much. All these speakers have done a very good job. Honorable Minister, we take pleasure when you are here. We know we are doing a very good job, but we have to mention where the gaps are and what your people are saying. So we are very grateful you are here and you have promised to implement the changes, which is what we know you to be. Finally, just a small comment that in the whole process, there was really a serious lack of agricultural science teachers. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
I put the question. The question is that this House adopts a report of the Committee on Education, Science and Technology on the review of the implementation of the 2013 Zambian curriculum, opportunities and challenges for the third session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 27th June 2024. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Her Honor the Vice President, adjournment.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the House do now adjourn.
The question is that the House do now adjourn. Any debate, any objection? The question is agreed to. The House is now adjourned.
Well, thank you very much for still being with us on Parliament Television, and business for today has just been concluded. Before we end business for today and our live transmission, we look at what has been discussed in the House so far, starting with the announcements that the Honorable Madam Speaker made on the floor of the House. And in the first announcements, she acquainted the House with the presence in the Speaker's Gallery of Honorable Raymond Chatima Nkata MP from Parliament of Malawi. Honorable Nkata is also a Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Central Africa Sub-Regional Representative and is on a familiarization tour of the CPA Zambia branch. She further went on to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Rose of Sharon School in Nkana East, Kitwe district. She also recognized the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Niza Trust School in Choma district.
And of course, Madam Speaker, in the fourth announcement, I did recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Nico Girls Provincial STEM Secondary School in Namala district. And in the recognize the presence in a primary school district. And in the last announcement, Madam Speaker did recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Keba Christian Academy in Makandanyama Kawe district. And on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, Madam Speaker did welcome all the visitors to the National Assembly.
After those announcements, there was a ministerial statement that was rendered by the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation, that Honorable Engineer Colin Zovu, and he did update the nation on the status of groundwater resource, their protection and sustainable utilization, and interventions to mitigate water shortages during the national disaster and emergency period. And in this statement, the minister did indicate to the House that groundwater plays a key role in supporting socio-economic development in Zambia and sustains livelihood through provisions of groundwater for various uses such as agriculture, hydropower, mining, industry, recreation, and most importantly, domestic water supply for both humans and animals.
And the minister did add that Zambia's water resources are estimated to generate renewable surface and groundwater of 100 cubic kilometers and 50 cubic kilometers per year, respectively. He added that in terms of spatial distribution, the surface water resources are not evenly distributed, while the groundwater resources are fairly evenly distributed. He added that in terms of water demand, irrigated agriculture and hydropower sectors are the two major competing water users, with a total demand per day, whereas the demand for irrigated agriculture is estimated at 30.
I did indicate to the House that in the 2022-2023 season, the country half of the Hichilema to receipt of such minimum
the most affected is Saka, parts of our eastern and central provinces, as monitored by 77 boreholes in the country.
And the minister also informed the House that the worst case observed was in Zambia district, which recorded a new low water level ranging between -40 and -50 below the ground. And he did indicate also that similarly, some parts of Central Province have reduced the peak recharge levels from last season's levels of -9.5 meters to this season's -12 meters, representing